Defeating Richtofen is one of the most difficult things you can do inside of Black Ops 6 Zombies right now. Trust me, I've been through the fight a number of times myself. I know just how hard it can be. But there is a big divide out there when it comes to the Aether Shroud. Without a doubt, we know Aether Shroud is the best field upgrade to use for this fight, but should you use the extra charge or should you use extension? Today, I'm going to be breaking it all down for you, and honestly, the answer might surprise you. Let's get into it. Okay, so we have a number of different ways that we can increase how quickly we are able to regenerate our field upgrades. And initially here, first, I want to talk about using the double activation of the Aether Shroud. So using the extra charge augment, if you do so, you are going to take about 65 kills in order for you to get a single charge of Aether Shroud. And that is pretty steady across the board. I tested this 4 different times. With each one of these different things, we went through these all 4 separate times. Whenever you put on an Arsenal Accelerator Gobblegum with the dual charge augment, it is still going to take you 65 kills. The Arsenal Accelerator is completely ineffective when using the dual Aether Shroud. So if you're using the 2 Aether Shroud augments, just stay away from the Arsenal Accelerator. It is going to do absolutely nothing for you when you have this particular augment on. Now, Speed Cola also has an augment that will increase how quickly you can regenerate your field upgrade. And when you're using the dual charge, that is going to bring your charge time down to 54 kills, down from the 65 whenever you do have that Speed Cola augment on. So you are getting a small benefit there. And again, if you take the Speed Cola and put an Arsenal Accelerator on, again, that Arsenal Accelerator is not going to be effective at all when using the dual Aether Shroud, and it's still going to take you that same 54 kills in order to charge up a single Aether Shroud field upgrade. And then when it comes to Vulture's Aid, we also have the Fetid upgrade. Now this one is a little bit subjective and the numbers kind of bounce all over the place because it really matters how much time you're able to spend inside these little toxic clouds that actually charge your field upgrade for you. Sometimes you're going to be able to spend a little bit more time inside of it. Sometimes it's going to take you, you're going to spend a little bit less time inside of it. So these numbers are going to vary and it's never going to be just a set number of kills, but this is definitely going to shorten the amount of time that it takes to get one of your Aether Shrouds back. Now, when we're talking about just Vulture's Aid, this is not using any Speed Cola or the Arsenal Accelerator at all. So you have your base in order to get one Aether Shroud is 65 kills. So when using the Fetid upgrade, over the 4 times that I was testing this, the first time took me 60 kills, so it took 5 kills off of that. The second time was actually my best. It took 48 kills. The third time was at 53 kills, and then the final time at 61 kills. And that just, again, it's going to depend on how much time you're able to spend inside of that toxic cloud when using that Vulture's Aid. So these numbers are always going to vary, but it is very, very effective. As you can see, it was cutting down the number of kills required by a pretty large margin. And when you combine the Vulture's Aid and Speed Cola, so now you have the Speed Cola augment, which brings it down to 54 kills, and now you have the Vulture's Aid. Well, the 4 testings that I did there was the first one 44, which was actually my low. So that was the lowest I was able to ever get this at 44 kills. 49, I got that twice. And then finally, the last one was 48 kills. So that's taking it from the 54. And on average, we were down under 49. So between 44 and 49 kills once we added on that Vulture's Aid. And then when we combine them all, and again, this was at a little bit of a higher round during my testing, but once I combined them all and I put the Arsenal Accelerator on, well, no surprise here, the Arsenal Accelerator had absolutely no effect whatsoever on the dual Aether charge. Through my 4 games, for my 4 things of testing here, the very first time took me 52 kills, and then my absolute bottom basement number here, I was actually able to spend a lot of time inside of a couple of Fetid upgrades here, and it got it down to 40 kills, and then my final 2 were 51 and 47 kills respectively. So the absolute fastest that I was ever able to get back one of the charges when using the dual charge was simply 40 kills. That was the absolute best. And then of course the top end of that would be 65 when you weren't using anything. So it's going to take you between 40 to 65 kills in order to get back that single charge of Aether Shroud when using the dual charge. Now, a single charge of Aether Shroud is going to give you about 6 seconds. About 6 seconds of time to do damage to Richtofen. That is time where you are actually able to aim down sight and put some damage into him. So just something to keep in mind. While I think the overall duration of it is about 7 seconds, I'm just measuring the time that you are actually able to aim down sight and do damage to Richtofen, which is about 6 seconds per charge. So if you have 2 charges, you're going to get a total of 12 seconds of time in which you are actually able to aim down sight and control where you are putting in damage. Now, you can hit fire for that first second or so while you're waiting to put that field upgrade away and you're going through that whole animation. So you can do some damage, but you're not able to aim down sight and really kind of control it, but you can hit fire and do a little bit of damage. But for the effects of this video and what we're talking about, I'm only going to consider the amount of time that you can aim down sight, which is going to be 6 seconds when using the dual charge. Okay, and now we need to talk about using extension. So we talked about how using the dual charge is going to get you about 6 seconds of time where you can aim down sight and do damage into Richtofen. Using the extension augment, it's going to get you a whopping 14 seconds of time where you can actually aim down sight on your weapon and put some damage into this boss, which to me is one of the biggest differences between the dual shroud and using the extension, is that you just get so much more time. You get more overall time than if you were to use both of your Aether Shrouds. If you were using dual charge, you get more overall time at 14 seconds compared to the 12 seconds you would get with the dual shroud. But it does come at a cost. It does take more kills in order to fill up the field upgrade when you are using extension, and that is going to be 90 kills. It's going to take you 90 kills at base in order to fill up the Aether Shroud when you're using extension, and you compare that to just 65 kills in order to fill up your Aether Shroud when you are using the dual charge. So significantly more kills it's going to take you in order to activate this. However, this is where everything else at your disposal really comes into play, because now when we use an Arsenal Accelerator Gobblegum, it is actually going to work, and it works very, very well. So when you have extension plus an Arsenal Accelerator Gobblegum, that is going to take the required number of kills from 90 all the way down to 55 kills. Now, the Arsenal Accelerator is going to last 5 minutes, which is a significant amount, a big chunk of the time that you are going to be spending in that Richtofen boss fight. So definitely a very good Gobblegum for you to take in, as it's going to bring down the required number of kills by a lot. Now, when we are talking about extension while using the Speed Cola augment, that reduces the amount of kills that it takes to charge your field upgrade. So using just Speed Cola, no Arsenal Accelerator in this case, that's going to bring it down from the 90 kills at the base down to 76 kills. So just having Speed Cola on with that augment is going to bring the required number of kills down to 76. One of the best things now is when you combine the Arsenal Accelerator and Speed Cola for the extension augment, it's going to bring it down to 46 kills. That is basically half of the base requirement of 90. It's one off from half. So basically it halves it all the way down to 46 kills. And you compare that to the dual charge, which at this point would have been 54 kills with Speed Cola and Arsenal Accelerator. It's going to only be 46 kills, which is huge, because again, remember, we're getting even more time to do damage into Richtofen. And as you would expect, Vulture's Aid in the Fetid upgrade actually has a little bit more of an impact when it comes to using the extension versus using dual charge. And again, these numbers are going to vary because it matters how much time you're able to spend inside of these toxic clouds. So again, the base is 90, while using just Vulture's Aid in the Fetid upgrade without Speed Cola or anything like that, I was able to get 72 kills, 79 twice, and then 73 kills. So down under 80 during every single one of these in order to get that activated. But again, some of these better ones, I was able to spend a little bit more time inside of those clouds. But either way, Vulture's Aid with the Fetid upgrade has a massive, massive advantage. And then when we take Vulture's Aid and its fetid upgrade and we combine that with the Augment for Speed Cola, again, we're able to bring down those required number of kills even further. So we're able to get 69, 65, 63, and well, 80, because I wasn't able to spend a whole lot of time inside of the Vulture's Aid during that final test there. But for the most part, I was down in the 60s in order to get this activated. And that one in the 80 honestly is kind of a one-off, because the Speed Cola in general, as we learned while using Speed Cola, is supposed to be 76. So I'm not really sure why we had one at 80. It was probably the only one-off thing that I had during this entire testing, but it's what happened and it's what was there. So that's the data that I'm going to present to you. And then finally, when we combine everything, when we combine the Arsenal Accelerator Gobblegum, the Vulture's Aid with the fetid upgrade, and the Speed Cola Augment that is going to speed up our field upgrade charge, when we combine all of those while using extension, these numbers are going to blow you away. So I hope you're sitting down. Are you sitting down? Good. Good. I'm glad. The very first time that I used every single one of these together, I was able to charge my Aether Shroud with the extension in just 38 kills. The second time, just 36 kills. The third time, which was the bottom basement number, this was the lowest number that I gotten for any of these testing, just 33 kills. And the final time, 39 kills. So every single time that I used all of these combined, it was less than 40 kills. Now, again, it might be a little bit different for you, because it is going to matter how much time you can spend inside of a fetid upgrade. But if you're doing your best to put yourself into that fetid upgrade, get some kills while you're in there, you can really cut down the amount of time that it takes for you to activate your Aether Shroud. So to me, when you take all of this data like this, there is one clear winner. There is one clear augment that you need to be using every single time when you are going into this Richtofen boss fight, and that is Aether Shroud with extension. Under no circumstance do I think you should ever be using the dual Aether Shroud. I don't think it is worth it for any of you out there to use the dual Aether Shroud. Maybe if you're playing in a team, maybe, but the duration just isn't there. There is not long enough for you to play the game. You're only getting that 6 seconds to do damage to Richtofen, 12 seconds combined if you use both of your charges, if you have both of your charges, but it's going to take you longer to get those charges back, and you're going to get way less out of them. So I definitely recommend that you are taking in Arsenal Accelerator Gobblegums into your Richtofen boss fights. Again, those things are going to last for 5 minutes. Make sure you have the Augment on for Speed Cola, and make sure you have that Augment on for your Vulture's Aid, and you can recharge this in less than 40 kills very, very consistently, which is going to allow you to almost always have an Aether Shroud available when you are fighting this boss. If you were surprised by these numbers as I am, please make sure you smash that like button. It really does go a long way toward helping the channel grow. If you found this video helpful at all, also, maybe subscribe for more. If you want to check out another Cool Whip video, go ahead and click right here. My name is Cool Whip, and I'm out.